Okay, in this lesson, let's talk about some new features of MoGraph that we have mentioned on our first lesson. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is inside of the cloner itself, the new features. If I go to cloner and go to objects, in here, we have new mode called honeycomb array. Honeycomb array is a new distributor object. It's a new mode for distributing the object alongside of y and x, y and z, and different axes, and control them differently. For example, if I choose honeycomb, and now you see that all of them are excluded out because they're in first mode. But as long as I just simply change our size like this and go to cloner, and you see that we have some offset and other cool stuff for this. If I just simply change the offset, you see that it's just offset the z axis, and we can just change this and also change the width, change the height of it. We have a offset variation. We can give them a variation and randomness like this, and have lots of other seeds. You can control the count and this kind of stuff, and lots of other cool things in here for this honeycomb mode. And that is very, very cool, and it helps a lot while you want to create this types of effect, this types of things. And you see that all of them are aligned very, very nicely. So that is the new mode for the MoGraph. And also, if I change this to grade, we have another things in here. And if I go to MoGraph and change the size of our cloner objects like this, and also, sorry, I have to change this. Okay, the other thing is that we have, okay, now I want, for example, just a sphere and change this to object mode and drag our sphere in here. Now we have all those boxes and on our sphere like this, and that is cool. So if I go to cloner, we have something called enable scaling. What enable scaling does, it just create randomizing scaling to up and down of your cloner objects. For example, if I enable this, now you see that we have this up and down randomizing our scale, and we can just control this with a graph and S curve, sorry, and you see that you can randomize it. You can just push it back, push it down, up, like this, and you can also scale, create amazing things, and very nice. It's a small feature, but it helps you a lot while you're working on a huge pieces of cloners and other MoGraph things like this. So that is from enable scaling. Okay, now let's talk about MoGraph effector called push apart. If I add this push apart and go to cloner effector and drag this push apart in effector, you see that all the things are going apart and just exploded out. But we can fix it. Push apart just avoid intersecting of the cloner objects with each other. What I mean that with push apart, you can just simply control the amount of space between your cloners and avoid their intersection with each other. For example, if I go to push apart and go to effector, and there is an strength, if I just decrease the strength, you see that all of them are just under a normal mode. But we can, you see that we can explode them out, and we can also change some of the mode. We have a scale apart, just changing the scale of those objects, and we have reduce like this, and you see that iteration. We can just simply change them like this, and also we have alongside of X and different other modes that you have to figure out with them like this. And It's very cool. It helps us a lot while we working on our cloners. So the push apart is cool, and also you see that they're not intersecting with each other, and they're all have some space and just collide with each other with push apart effectors. So that is from push apart, and you can also add some selection to this cloner. For example, we talk about MoGraph selection and MoGraph weight paintbrush. For example, if I add MoGraph paintbrush, I select one area of my object like this. You can also change the radius of the brush itself, or you can change the mode or polygon, anything else. It's just create a new MoGraph selection. If I go to push apart and put this to this selection, you see that it's only working on that area that we have selected. Or we can just also invert this. If I go to MoGraph selection tag and invert this like this, and that is from MoGraph selection. And with MoGraph weight paintbrush, you can paint on some of the areas and apply all, and you can change some of the parameters. And with it's same like the selection mode. So, and also the other effector is re-effector. For example, re-effector, as I mentioned, is an effector that is a master controller for your MoGraph effector. Imagine you have a lot of effectors. If I go to MoGraph and effector and add maybe some random, and we have random and push apart. And if I go to re-effector and in parameters, you see that we can control the amount of all those effects. We can control the amount of them with these controllers. And if I change this push apart from MoGraph selection, you see that we can control them. You can also change the selection, control all of them like this, and that is very cool. If you have some scale or rotation, if I go to random and change the scale like this, and you can also change the scale of it. And also if I have some rotation in random in all of the effectors, not just in random, if you have more than one effectors, it's very easy to control them with re-effector like this. You see that we can control all of them like this, and we can animate them. You can have a lot of other options. You have effectors. For example, if you don't want to just go from the first mode of the cloner, if you want to just push it, just jump to other effector. For example, if I add another effector and just add some maybe planar, and go to re-effector and add this. Okay, and if I go to MoGraph and add a plane and go to re-effector and add this plane to this effector. Now if I change some of the parameters in here, transform, you see that when I change the re-effector, it doesn't go to the normal mode. It is just sliding between this effector, this plane effector, and the normal, the random mode. If you see that in here, and the strength of this, you see, you can create amazing things and parameters like this. So that is very, very cool, and has very flexibility while we having some MoGraph effectors and more than one MoGraph effectors. Okay, that was from MoGraph features. There is nothing more of these effectors. In the last lesson, we'll talk about the parallax bump and the thin film shader in Cinema 4D.